All right, here it is, 2019 CRF 450L. This is like the 250 mile review. I tried to do the motovlog thing, but I just don't have the proper equipment for that right now. It's a little bit dirty, but not too bad. Really just some water spots and stuff. But anyhow, yeah, 250 miles. I got my Mr. Horsepower CJ in there. Put some little ones here and there. So far, so good. I love it so far. Mods that I've done, I went ahead and done the fender eliminator. I put an LED strip. The LED kit that I use is right here. It's a 8-inch white light strip, which is actually like two 4-inch sections, I believe. So here's what it looks like. And I went ahead and hopefully my battery doesn't die here in my phone. But yeah, I went ahead and wired that up underneath the tail here and then zip tied it in the center just in case. Put one little hole on each side and then ran it through. The fender eliminator, I went ahead and took, I want to trim these off. These extra triangle tabs, I want to trim these here and here eventually because there's no use of that right now. But basically, if I grab, here's the part that I took off. Weighs about a pound, I believe. So that part, that metal bracket that you see right there actually mounted right to here. And there are rubber grommets in there as well. What I did was I took I put one hole right here in a perfect spot, perfect center, lined up with this triangle. There's actually a triangle. Let me see if I can see it. Right here, this triangle in the plastic lines up perfect with this triangle in this metal part. And so I went ahead and held it to that triangle, and then this hole already existed in the bracket. I back drilled that hole up through there, the size of the outer diameter of the grommet, stuck the grommet through, ran the bolt through. That got it somewhat tight. And then, I mean, it made it pretty tight, but then I took and I just decided to put a tiny little hole here and a tiny little hole here and zip tie with all the plastic taken off on the other side, zip tie it through on both sides, and that sucker is on there. Like, it is sturdy. So I'm just waiting on my real plate to get in. But anyhow, yeah. And I was really impressed with their Undertale. Like, the Undertale is clean looking. I mean, there's no, like, missing spots. I mean, look how thin that is. It's awesome. So much better like that. So, yeah, I did that so far. I got my little CJ oven there, too. All right, like I said, I got the one there. And then one up front here. Mr. Horsepower up front here, flying on the front, leading the way. So anyhow, then I took my side reflectors. I had the dealers. Ooh, let's not drop the helmet. I had the dealer remove these just because you want to make sure these get torqued back down to the specs they should be. So this had two side reflectors there. Had the dealer take them off, and then the side reflectors back here, obviously they're gone because that whole bracket's gone. So that's one thing there. One thing up front with the side reflectors off. I put my registration and everything underneath this bar pad, underneath the rental, because there's nowhere to really store that stuff on this bike that I could find. And then I went ahead and put my, what do you call it? My dang ram mount right here. So he mounts up right here and comes up right above here. And then I do have the ram mount rear view mirror on the way. I actually dropped this bike in the house here working on it. The kickstand didn't go down all the way. And it dropped. It broke the left rear view mirror. Well, in Louisiana, you have to have a left rear view mirror. So I just flipped the right one over. Turned the whole thing completely over and moved the right one to the left side for now till I get I'm getting that ram mount rear view mirror. So yeah. You can see here, you got your mileage. So I got 261 miles. You got trip A, trip B. You got your current miles. So that's when you're riding it. Like literally whatever throttle you're at, whatever RPM, whatever gear, it tells you what mileage you're getting if you keep it exactly that. And it can get pretty high. Average right now is 46.5. trip. This is my favorite right here. Where's it at? Might have to be running to do that. Oh, the gallon, that's it right there. So this one that says gal, it'll actually tell you how much fuel you've consumed. So whenever you fill the tank up, you want to reset your trips. And then it'll say 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 1 gallon. Right at 1.5 gallons, I believe it goes on reserve. So you can figure out, you got a 2-gallon tank, it'll tell you exactly how much fuel you've used, and it is extremely accurate. When it hits 1.9 gallons, get gas, because I actually ran it dry. As soon as it hits 2, within, a few miles, you're going to be running out of gas. Very accurate, and you can get, the best mileage I've gotten so far was 51 miles to a gallon, but you could do better for sure. I could tell that if you were cruising, the best thing to do for high mileage is cruise 6th gear at about 55 miles per hour, and you will get around 55 to 60 miles per gallon in 6th gear at like 55 miles to the gallon, or 55 miles per hour rather. Other than that, I put the Scott Gray grips on there, which you could see kind of ticked me off. It ripped my grip when it dropped over. That's no big deal. It's a dirt bike. But these grips are super grippy. I like Pro Taper grips a lot too, but yeah, the bike so far has been absolutely amazing. It's plenty light. Like there's people that are freaking out. Oh, it weighs 280 pounds. That's wet, KTM, probably, I don't know about Yamaha, but you got to realize most of these companies take these weights dry. So if you took the 280 or 285 or whatever they claim for this bike, and you subtracted 2 gallons of fuel and a little over a quart of oil. I did 1 oil change on this bike so far at 100 miles. If you subtracted the oil, the coolant, and the radiators, and the 2 gallons of fuel, and the brake fluid, which brake fluid's very, not a whole lot, but it has to fill up the lines and everything, you would easily take off, I'm sure, another 15 pounds, So I'm pretty sure this bike's not much heavier than its competition, and it is its competition. And where this bike shines is it has this rubber sprocket thing here. It has these plastic motor guards, which are awesome. Like, they reduce noise, but also they're protecting your case. You can replace those and you'll still have a brand new looking case and everything. But it has all these little things like that to make it smoother on the road. And also, I've been riding this thing hard, wheeling it. First, second, and third gear, the clutch, it'll come right up with clutch. It'll come right up in first and second, just power wheelies. Third gear, it'll power wheelie if you're really trying, but if you clutch it, it'll pop up like nothing. The best way to do that is going slow, 15 miles an hour or whatever, and then clutch it up. But what was I saying? Heck, I don't know. Yeah, plenty of power, 6 gears. Very quiet, that's what I was saying. So on the road at high speeds, 70 miles per hour, 80 miles an hour, it's smooth. It doesn't really feel like a dirt bike. It feels smoother and quieter than a normal dirt bike because of these little things they've done, like the rubber mounted sprocket and the engine covers and things of that nature. The turn signals are really nice. I have no desire to change them. I mean, they're super bright and they look nice. Everything about this bike just looks nice, in my opinion. It's just, it looks like a straight motocross bike. It really does, other than turn signals and stuff that you absolutely need. The only little pet peeve I have is, and I'm going to change this isn't a huge deal, but when the bars are straight, like right now, right? You can tell they're straight. My speedometer and that layout, it's not a big deal, but it's crooked. You can see that. Like, it's not, when you're looking at it, it sits crooked. It's like they misdrilled the bracket or lined it up wrong. That's like the only thing that really bothers me. And it's in there tight. Like, sucker does not move. It has a really nice screen, like all flat and flush with the edges completely, like very nice. Like, you can see that. You can't even hardly feel it with your fingernail. It's just so nice. But yeah, it's not straight. The bars Right there, the bars are perfectly straight. You can just see how crooked that is. Kind of bugs me. The left side there is way more towards me. So maybe I'll pull the front end apart, just like the front section, and take it off and rebolt it back down. Maybe it's just cockeyed in there. One other thing that's kind of funky is the fuel cap has like this big thing that sticks down into it. So when you take it off, it has this. That's some type of one-way valve, I'd imagine. But yeah, that sucker, you pretty much just have to hold it like this. I love the tank though. It looks so nice inside. I mean, a titanium tank. Not going to worry about any rust or anything. But yeah, you hold on to this. There's nowhere to really put this thing. Like, it's just there. I don't know. Maybe I'll hang it from my RAM mount right here. But pretty much I've come to the conclusion, just put it on side stand and just hold this in your hand while you're refueling the bike. It does have a very nice, like, this thing doesn't get all twisted up because you just put it on and this moves like a swivel. And then it clicks down. Just keeps clicking. But yeah, that'll kind of move itself around. So that's real nice. That's pretty cool. I'll just give you the tires are extremely grippy. Like, I mean, let's see. I don't know. I've worn them. The front, I have I have some wear right here. Not the whole knobby. You don't want to go, I guess, too far, but I laid this thing down in some corners pretty good, sticking my leg out on the front, and it grips. It will not really break loose unless you're in the rain. There's the back tires after 250 miles of riding pretty aggressive at times. It looks like the back I've only gotten, I don't even know. It's hard to say. It looks like I'm wearing them as far as right here only, which is fine with me. Like I said, you don't want to get too close to the edge there, but you can really lay this thing down and not lay the tire down that far. You can get around some corners good. Yeah, I'll just give you a little look again. DID Dirt Star black wheels. I love them. Spokes are all nice and tight still, from what it seems. They should be. I mean, the discs are thicker than the motocross version to disperse more heat. Braking's amazing on this bike. There's that shock, adjustable rear shock, adjustable front shock. I mean, it's straight up just like the Showa, just like the motocross bike. You got your hard and soft, and then you got your bleed valve right here. You're supposed to lift the bike off up on a stand and then release, open that every now and again, and it'll release the pressure that's built up in your shock. It'll just kind of go tss, and then you just tighten it back down. That's what those are all about. I haven't done that yet. This is number 247 made in the world. So that's pretty freaking cool. The first one my dealer got in here was number 5 something. The guy bought it. Mine came in 2 something. And then the third one that came in, I feel pretty fortunate to have 247 because the one that they just got in was, I just looked at it. I stopped by today. They got another one in and it was like 5,400. So they're really making some of these for sure. Anyhow, any questions or anything you want to see, just go ahead and drop a comment and I'll try to do what I can. Appreciate it. Like it and subscribe if you want to. And Cycle Cruiser. I think this bike looks, it might not have as much horsepower. I know it doesn't have as much horsepower, but in my opinion, he says the YZ450FX looks nicer. I don't think so. Not at all. It's not a bad looking bike, but this is a very, very, very nice looking, well finished bike. Anyhow, there she goes. Another quick thing, I love this helmet. I just got this helmet just because it was the only dealer that fit, and I love it for the price. It's called the Vamar, and it just has a real aggressive, like, Italian look to it. Super comfortable. And it's the Taku. It's their, like, this is their cheap helmet, and honestly, this thing looks like it costs $500. It feels like it costs $500. You will not regret this helmet. It's not really a true dual sport helmet. It's more of a dirt bike helmet. but it's freaking sweet. And super, super lightweight. Anyhow, yeah, I like the helmet. I'm eventually going to get a dual sport helmet as well. So, yeah, super bright tail light. Awesome. Y'all have a good one.